In April 2021, I started playing golf seriously as it was the only sport we could actually do after the lockdowns. I started with a 30 handicap and got myself down to an 11 handicap within just 6 months and had no lessons in this time. At first, breaking 90 was a huge achievement for me, but with the right approach to golf, I started shooting in the 80s regularly and I almost broke 80 a few times, and all of this was within 6 months. Although I'm a single handicapper now, I'm going to share with you the tips and tricks that I used to bring my handicap down as quickly as possible.
So the first one is actually going to be get yourself an app. So on your phone, you can download a free app. It's called, one I use is called Swing You, and I'm going to get the GPS of this app on the side of the screen for you. So looking down here, if you were playing without GPS, you wouldn't really know exactly which iron to use unless you knew you carry distances and you were using the scorecard basically to see the distance. But every time you come out, the flag's going to be a little bit further away or closer. So I've got 2 clubs here. I know that my 8 iron carries 170 and my 7 iron will carry about 185. And with the GPS, you can see that flag is right at the back. So there's no point using this 8 iron, of course, unless there was wind actually pushing down that way. So I'm going to be using the 7 iron here. Another thing to take note of if you're a 30 handicap is you should play really conservative. 6 iron would go about 195. As I said, there's a little bit of wind coming back here. So if I hit this quite nicely, I could get it pin high, but really on these par 3s, you should be aiming for the middle of the green, just to be safe. If you've got stupid amounts of money which you don't need to play golf, you can get one of these, which is a rangefinder. When you're a high handicap, getting down to mids, you really don't need all of this stuff. This is like £300, which is ridiculous. I just need to hit this nice and straight. I'm aiming for the middle of the green. I'm not going for the flag. All I care about is trying to hit the green. That's good. It's quite high. That could be right next to the flag, actually. That's in the middle. It looked like it was going for the flag, but obviously the wind held up a little bit in the air. It's landed in the middle of the green, which is exactly where I was aiming. On the green, pretty much middle. It looked a lot closer standing from back on the tee box, but not bad. Birdie opportunity. So even on these shorter ones, make sure you always take the ball, clean it, and put it back, because it gives you time to reset. So we're on the next hole now, and as I already spoke about, knowing your carry distances is really important. That goes for every single club in the bag. For example, when I first started to play golf, if I hit the shot, my driver 280, I was like, oh, I probably carry 270. But in reality, in the summer, I was probably carrying 230, 240, and the ball was rolling out. Now that's really important because, as you can see, there's quite a few bunkers up here. This is one of the harder holes out here because it's a really hard tee shot. It's a par 4. So we've got the bunker on the right here, which is 165-ish. On the left, it's about 180-ish, and at the top left, it's about 225. As I said, it's uphill, so that's going to mean, that might be carrying about 230. So now I need to pick a club. Obviously, there's only 2 clubs that can really carry those. That's going to be the 3-wood, or it's going to be the driver. So I know that my driver should carry about 265, but then there's also more rough to play with on the right. If I use this 3-wood, it's going to place me into hopefully a better position. Of course, if you're hitting your driver a lot straighter, maybe use that one as long as you're not going to carry yourself into another bunker. I usually go 3-wood off the ground. Okay, it's gone a bit more right than I wanted. Might hang on to the fairway. Actually, I think I've just caught a little bit of the fairway, or slightly semi-rough, but now I've got a good line into the actual hole. So the next tip, or the next part of actually getting better for me as a golf player, is getting confident missing the greens, because you can see here, this is one of the hardest holes on the golf course. I've still got about 140, 145 to that flag, but we've got bunkers on the right, we've got bunkers on the left. If I don't hit the green, I should feel confident in myself that I'm going to get up and down. So I'm going to put an image on the screen of how many greens in regulation you hit per handicap. And when you're 30 or 25 handicap, I think it's around 3 to 5 greens in regulation. So really focus on just aiming to the center of the green. And if you do miss, being able to get yourself a good chip shot, which we'll move on to next. So as I said, about 145 out, I'm going to just basically hit a nice smooth 9 iron in there, and that should be just past the flag. If not, I'll be on the flag. So aiming middle of the green. and I've actually gone right, which will be perfect for the video. I missed the green. I didn't do it on purpose, but it's actually worked out to be a really good example of when you start to move into a mid-handicapper, you should be able to look at this with a little bit more confidence, because I know when I first started to play golf, all I could think about is either fatting that, it's gonna go in the bunker, or I fin it, it's gonna go in the bunker, or just shoot over to the other one. Go to actually chip and practice, because I think too many high handicappers, they'll go to the driving range, spend an hour there, half an hour here and there, and it's just not enough. You should be doing more practicing on your putting, your chipping, because about 60 to 75% of the game is actually played from 100 yards and in. Most of it is putting, and quite a bit of it can be saved with these short putts, or short chips, sorry. So here we go. So my mindset here is pretty much just to get it onto the green with good technique. I should run out a little bit. It gives me about, I'd say, what, 5 foot, 6 foot for a par save there.
So when I practice my chipping, I like to use one of these clicker tubes, which holds around 20 balls. And the reason I use this is so I can go and pick them up super quickly, and I can just focus on my chipping technique. Now, one thing I'd like to say, and I see this happen so much, is you need to be using some kind of premium golf ball. It doesn't need to be, you know, Pro V ones that are £5 per ball. Although if you do use them, that'll be great. But do not use range balls. They act completely different to premium golf balls. So the ones I use are actually the Costco golf balls. They're actually really good. They're about £1 per ball. So if you do have a Costco membership, go and get these. They're about £30 for 24 balls. Right now, I only have 19 subscribers, and I would love to make more golf content. So if you're enjoying the video, subscribe and help me hit that 1,000 subscribers milestone so I can partner my channel and invest more time into this content.
Nice.
Okay, so we are now on a par 3, and as you can see, my ball is, I don't know actually, what would you say, 20, 22 foot away from the hole. In a situation like this, when I was a 30 to 20 handicap, I'd probably 3-putt more often than I would 2-putt, sometimes even 4-putt, especially if there's any kind of break, or if I've got to go uphill, downhill. As a high handicapper, it's your job really to get better at putting, because you hit most of your shots in golf come from putting, and it's the easiest shot to practice. Every putt should be a straight putt for you. It's only whether you read it differently that it would change direction after you hit it. You don't slice a putt, you don't draw a putt, so it should be quite straightforward and simple. So I have recorded some drills for you to do, and what I have done to make myself a better putter. Even on days where I don't feel like I'm doing well, it still comes in clutch, and the way you do it is simply by walking it out. So you can follow me as well. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So it's about 10 steps out, and before your round of golf you should have had a little bit of a putt on the greens to see how fast they are, if they've been sanded, you know, if you know your local golf course. So I know this is 10 paces out, but I also can see it's uphill, and it's, I wouldn't say super fast, so I'm going to play this as if it was flat at about 11 to 12 steps out. And the objective here is for me to get the ball within 1 foot, so I can just knock it in for a par and walk off, or actually get past the hole as well, because obviously, you know, to get yourself a birdie, you need to get it past the hole. There's no point leaving it short. So if I want to be long or short, it's definitely going to be long. Okay, so this one is going to be a double breaker, so it should move a little bit right up the hill, but towards the end, like the last 4 foot or so, it's probably going to break a little bit left or straighten up. So the objective here is to make sure I actually get the ball to the hole and don't leave myself short. It's a little bit right, I've pushed it, and I'm a little bit too short. How many feet out are we? We're about 2 foot out, so I should be able to clean this up, but you know, when you're a 30 to 20 handicapper, you can definitely miss these. I'd say a lot of the time you're getting gimmies with your mates because none of you want to miss it, but you should get confident actually just putting these into the back of the hole. There you go. So walked off with a par, but without that speed control that we've done on the greens before we come out, we could have been well back here, and sometimes even back here, because it's going uphill, we might have misjudged it.
So by far the easiest way to reduce your handicap is to get better at lag putting, which is pretty much the speed of your first putt, getting the ball as close to the hole as possible, ideally past the hole, which is what we mentioned in the video. But if you do leave it short, make sure it's not 6 foot short. Now what you should be doing before every round of golf is this drill where you pace out, say 3 steps, 5 steps, 7 steps, 9 steps, something that's relatable for you, and get a feel for what the greens are like. Now all of the practice greens should be quite similar at the golf course you're playing. You see that shot there, the third shot was very short, kind of similar to the par 3 I just played. Another putting drill you can do is one where you actually get a lot closer to the hole. This time you can see that I've paced out 4 steps or 4 feet basically, and you want to get really comfortable at making this putt just in case you've left yourself short or if you have a birdie opportunity on. So you can see we've got 4 balls here. The game is to make every single putt. If you miss one, all of the balls get reset and they go back onto their spot. So you've got to make 4 consecutive shots. And the reason why this is good is because as you get 1 in, 2 in, 3 in, and the last one, you need to really concentrate and pretend it's a birdie putt on the golf course, because being out on the golf course, the pressure is a lot higher and this replicates that. And finally, drill number 3 is going to be using the tees. And at first, you're going to have one hand on the club and you're going to be about 6 foot out from the hole. It could be any distance you like, but closer the better. Try to pick a putt which is straight. Now, I had just been putting to this and I was seeing a right to left break as you saw in the previous clips. And it just goes to show how the greens are slightly different, because I'm pretty much putting to the right side of the cup and it's definitely not breaking, which is why I was wondering why I was missing some of these. But do this with one hand. So for me, I'm right-handed. I was using my right hand only. Then I'll switch to both hands and you feel so much more stable through your putt, and you're going to get a lot more confident, even as a high handicap, at putting these away to save par or even make bogeys, which is really big for a high handicapper.